Hey guys, John here. Welcome to 5-Minute Presets. We're in Toxic Biohazard, and today let's do something acidy and sequency and kind of just disgusting. So let's go to Options, Reset Program, start our countdown here. And this is kind of built off the old saw wave, square wave kind of thing with a little bit of extra twist. So for this first sine wave, let's change this to, I think it's sine 2 it was. And the second one, let's turn this on to sine. And let's do some frequency modulation over here. So we have something kind of gross like that. The third oscillator is going to be a saw wave down over here. And then let's turn this on, put that third one into the mix. And then the fourth one is going to be a square smooth, something like this. Let's turn that on in the mix and turn that up as well and drop this square down by an octave. So something kind of like that, increase our drive all the way. Let's make it gross, right? Now unison voices, we can maybe do 3, do some unison pan. So this is getting pretty disgusting pretty quick. You can always adjust the drive to taste. So now let's hop into the sequencer over here. So this is kind of a way that's kind of slow, but I think this is a good way to kind of deconstruct sequences. So let's put 0 on basically all of these here, and then we kind of work backwards. I don't know if anybody else does it this way. I kind of like doing that because you kind of remove things and it makes it a little bit easier to work with. You might have a completely different process, but it's kind of something that I like doing here. So we're almost here. We have 8 done. We have 8 more to go. And I always wish there was a quicker way to do this, or to type in these values, or to just write them in. That would be really cool. And okay, we're almost done here. Hang with me. I know this is kind of boring, but this is it's part of the process. You know, it helps make a good sequence, I think. Okay, so we're all at 16 here. Let's turn our sequencer on and let's see what we have so far. Just nasty. So let's drop our sustain down and kind of dial in our decay. And even that just kind of cool with some drums. Okay, so what I like to do is kind of remove stuff. So let's listen to it and kind of play with the drum group and let's see what happens. Okay, so that might be kind of cool to start off with. You can always change your sequence in there. This is kind of just for time's sake. So now we kind of want to add some of our effects here. So something that's kind of nice too is really going to be reverb and delay, but this chorus is also nice on something kind of like this. And then we have our delay here. Let's go to sync 2/16. Take down the blur and the depth here. And the last thing we really need to do to make this acidy is work on our filter. So low pass here, let's increase our resonance quite a bit. Give it some envelope amount. Drop our sustain here. And really dialing in this decay is kind of going to be the meat and potatoes of the whole thing. So with this all being said here, let's try it out with some drums. And then last but not least, we have used our chorus, we have used our delay. So this is going to be a spot where you want to use external reverb, or you could ditch the chorus, but the delay here and then the reverb over here. Kind of really depends on what you want to do. But for this case, let's add some reverb here and see how that sounds. And then maybe let's work on our EQ a little bit as well here. So pushing a little bit of 500, a little bit of 2K, and maybe some 4K. See how that sounds like. so that is basically time here. So long story short, mainly the main components are going to be the saw wave and then the square wave down an octave. This frequency modulation here is kind of just to add a little bit more disgustingness to it, a little bit just kind of grossness to it. But the main components, like I said, are going to be the saw wave, the square wave down an octave, and then the cutoff and the resonance are kind of going to be working in tandem because we have the cutoff, which is modulated by this envelope amount, and you kind of really want to dial in the decay a little bit with no sustain, and then the resonance to taste however kind of acidy sounding that you kind of want. And as well, keeping this drive up pretty substantially high because you kind of do want that distortion. That's kind of the whole point of that type of sound. And then with this cutoff, this is kind of going to be the knob that you really want to modulate, especially if you're going into a drop. You can kind of start it kind of low. And it's kind of building up. I want to hear you scream or some shit, and then I think you get the idea. But yeah, so that's kind of the whole point of that thing as well. You can always feel free to change out the sequence here and kind of do something that you like more than this. This is kind of just a quick one to get the point across here. You can always go to the options and then reset the sequencer and then start again instead of having to manually reset this here. So let's see, what are we going to call this? I guess Let Me Hear You Scream, right? That sounds pretty cool. Okay, so yeah, Let Me Hear You Scream. If you want to get Let Me Hear You Scream, then there's a link in the video description below and it can be yours. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.